Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Metra AV Tech Tips Solutions. So as today is Friday, this is the day that we are going to talk about a specific product from our catalog that has to do with our episode that we did last Wednesday, which of course was on the, the 20th, 19th, on the 19th. So on the 19th, we were talking about interconnects. So all these devices that are in between the source device and the display or the endpoint, like what I like to call it. So what we're going to talk about today is one of my favorite items that we have that goes in between those two parts, the source part and the endpoint part. And so we're going to talk about hit the button correctly on that one there, CS-C5SA1. I actually have one right here with me here, so we're going to talk about it specifically. So this one here is actually really cool. I'm going to read directly off the back of the package here. It's an analog audio Balun. So this is a true audio Balun. So this is a kind of a sticker point that Brent and I talk about a lot. An HDMI extender is not a Balun because it does not take a balanced signal and make it unbalanced, or an unbalanced signal and make it balanced. But this, however, is a true Balun system. It takes an unbalanced RCA connection and it converts it to a balanced, basically an XLR connection. And that's also how it's able to go a total of 1,000 meters on a Cat6 cable, or even a Cat5 cable in some circumstances. It can handle anywhere from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, which is 20,000 hertz. It can be used over Cat5e or Cat6. It can also be used in other category cables as well. And it has an insertion loss of less than 2 dB over the frequency range. So that it has really great capabilities of going across that distance and still keeping that volume or that quality of audio on the other side of that connection. Next thing I'm going to do for you is I'm going to go ahead and open up the box to show you what's on the inside of it. While I'm going through this, of course, feel free to leave your questions over in the chat section over there. Mark Silver, it's great to see you in the chat. It's always great to hear from you as always. If you are watching this after the fact and you have questions about this item here that I'm talking about today, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. We do monitor those and we do respond to those as quick as we possibly can. So without further ado, I'm going to give us a top-down shot so we can go ahead and take a look at this. Go here. There we go. Okay. So this is the box here. We'll just go ahead and open it up. We got some packaging. We'll get that out of the way. We've got the user manual, and the user manual here is pretty straightforward. It's just one-sided. There's not a whole lot to understand about this piece here. It just tells you what type of connections that you have, and it's also telling you the recommended RJ45 termination practice. We recommend 568B in this circumstance. So definitely do that. So we'll go ahead and set that aside here. Then inside, of course, we have our transmit and receive, or transmit and receive. It doesn't actually matter. These are not directional. And they're in these nice static bags as well. Now, as always, with any kind of static bags, you want to make sure that when you take it out of the static bag, don't lay it on top of the static bag. You can actually wind up transmitting all of that static buildup on the outside of these bags into the products itself. So we'll want to make sure that those are set aside and don't touch. And do that also for the second side of it as well. So you'll see here, they're pretty well identical for all of the different connections, all the different servicing and everything else for that. The only difference that you have really is you have two of them. So these are identical. Now, what that means then, of course, is that it doesn't matter which one is on which side. You can have this one on the transmit side and this one on the receive side, or vice versa. This one on the transmit side and this one on the receive side. These are not powered, and so you don't have to worry about having power on either side. It does have a grounding lug, so you can ground it down on one side. You really don't want to ground it down on both sides because we want to use that as a drain. But we do have our standard unbalanced RCA connections here and here. And then on this side, we of course have our RJ45 ins and outs. And so you can use those for it as well. Now, this piece is really handy for whenever we want to transmit data over, transmit analog audio over a really long distance, because, like I said before, this is doing a true XLR conversion. So what we do is just very simply, we take our RCA connection, plug it into one side on this one. And again, it doesn't matter if this is the transmit side and this is the receive side. You can just reverse that if you need to. It's however you need to do it. And we'll do an RCA on the other side as well, like so. And very simply, we're going to pretend that this is a much longer category wire than what I have right here, but I just want to show you what this looks like. Just plug it in like so, on that side and on this side. Now, here's what's happening. We are taking this unbalanced signal. We have, there's technically 4 pairs inside of, or sorry, 4 conductors inside of this connection, because we have 2 for the left connection and 2 for the right connection. So what that's doing then is it's taking a total of 6 wires on the output. So that's why technically this one here, we are using all 4 twisted pair. So this one here, you cannot, like if you needed to run an IR connection as well, you can't do that. We're actually using the last twisted pair for an extra grounding connection between them. So you unfortunately can't use that for that purpose. So we'll go ahead and take our RCA ins here. It converts it from the 4 conductors down to, or sorry, up to a total of 6 conductors, leaving this connection here. Technically it's 7 conductors, so it's using that last twisted pair. Then from there, it's going over to the other side, and it's going to convert that balanced signal to an unbalanced signal back again. Again, that's where that Balun comes in and word usage. And then it converts it back over to the RCA, and then you run that RCA connection into your amplifier or whatever you need to do with it, and you're good to go. So it's a pretty straightforward audio extender. The great thing, of course, like I said before, is that you can go a total of 1,000 meters with this. So we're going 3,280 feet for all of us here in the US. But it's a great device specifically for that reason, to go extra long distances. This can also solve a lot of problems if you are getting some humming inside of your signal because you're using an unbalanced connection. You can put this in there, and in some cases it will lower that noise floor just enough to make it to where you can actually hear the music that you're supposed to. So it's a great piece. Again, this is the CS-C5SA1 audio Balun. So this is a true audio Balun. This is not just an audio extender. We do sell audio extenders as well that are a little bit more basic. They only use I believe it's a total of 4 conductors inside of this connector. So you could technically use that for like an IR if you wanted to. But if you need good quality extension, this is the way to do it here. So, as always, everybody, thank you so much for checking out today's episode. There's really not a whole lot more to talk about with this device here, other than maybe exactly where to use it. We see people using this for long distance audio transmission. So if you need to go from 2 separate buildings in a complex of some kind, this is a great device for that. If you have like a direct burial Ethernet connection, this is great use for that case. If you're using it inside of a large sports complex of some kind, maybe a large stadium, and you need to get some kind of RCA connection from one end to the other. Again, we've got 1,000 meters to work with, 3,280 feet. So plenty of distance to work with if you need it. Or if you just need to run it inside of a single house, this is still a really great way to transmit that data if you already have a category wire in place. So, as always, everybody, thank you so much for checking out today's episode. If you have questions about this device here, feel free to reach out to me directly. This is our phone number here, 386-492-8584. Or, as always, reach out to your reps and your distributors to find out availability and pricing. And if you have any other questions, feel free to ask anybody that you can get a hold of. So, as always, everybody, thank you for checking it out. I'm Adam with Metra AV Tech Tips Solutions, and we'll see y'all next time in the next one. Have a good one.